You're listening to Arirang Radio's Wonders of Jeju. This is a segment where we tell you about the lives of people living right here on the island. I'm your host, DJ Jamie. This is Humans of Jeju. Jay, welcome into the studio.
Hello.
Hello. Wasn't it hot today?
You know what? It's been hot all this week. I have the air condition on at home
we
all
have
the time.
to. Otherwise it would be very difficult to sleep at night.
I know.
Yeah, but I sweat at night. I remember even with the air conditioner on and off with the automated system, I still sweat. I find myself sweating sometimes, waking up in the middle of the night.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
but
bad.
it's inevitable because it's summer. So it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
And I'm so excited to learn who we're going to talk about today.
Yes, I'm excited also. I'm just kidding. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But, wow. It's that heat, it gets you thinking. But anyways, we're going to start off by, let me ask you a question, Jamie.
Okay.
Do you like to read books?
Yes, I do. I think I like to look at books a little bit more than reading them. No, but seriously, because I had to learn a second language quite earlier in my age. So I have difficulty reading Korean books.
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't come really, it doesn't stick to my mind.
Oh.
I easily fall asleep when I'm reading Korean books. So if I'm reading an English book, it's a little bit better. Yeah, but I normally do, and I try to read more books.
Oh, okay.
Indeed. Yeah.
What type of books do you like to read?
Well, these days I'm reading a lot of self-development books.
Oh,
and also
nice.
books about meditation
Oh,
for
wow.
some reason. Things that help me calm my mind. Yeah.
We need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think more people should calm down a little.
Oh, yeah.
You hear news about...
it's the pandemic.
Right.
It's getting everybody agitated, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What about yourself? Do you like reading?
You know what? Just like you being honest, I'll be honest too. I usually read the first and the last. No, I'm just kidding.
You're very smart. And then you know all the content.
All you need is the summary.
Actually, I had a 선배, an older elder colleague, that would read. He wouldn't read the entire book. He would just skip through it.
Oh, really?
And
some people are really fast readers.
I know, but this is not the case.
Okay.
He doesn't really read it, but he does that with several books. He buys 6 or 7 books, and then he just skips through it, skims through it, and then underlines important things and ideas.
Then he must be reading it to underline it.
Well, just only a few pages.
Oh, wow.
But then he goes back to it again later on. I think that's another way to read books.
That's nice.
Everybody has their own way.
I like books. Like our corner, I like to read books about people.
Oh, yeah. You must do a lot of that.
Yeah, I enjoy that as well. They got some great stories, some people.
Are we talking about a book today?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, really? But a book is not a human.
Yeah, but someone related to books.
Oh, yes, I see.
So we today we introduce someone who is very fun and unique. So thinking that it would be nice for a listener to know ahead, actually. So we posted our guest's YouTube channel and her Instagram on our Instagram as well.
Yeah, I was just playing with you. I actually saw the YouTube channel and it was so fun. Yeah, It was really interesting. And the Instagram photos are really cute too. So please take a look. If you haven't seen it yet, they're posted both on our YouTube and Instagram accounts. And that is the person we're talking about today, isn't it?
Yes. So she says her friends who majored in filming had helped her in the beginning of making the YouTube. At the time, her friends were preparing for employment, so they had lots of time to help. But now she says they are all employed, and she's posting her video on her own. And she has to admit, it's not an easy thing.
But she does so well. She seems to be really good at editing the videos, and they're so funny, and they're very cute also. And she shows you how she sets up her bookstore.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a live, almost like watching an entertainment show.
Did you see
really
the clip of her preview? Like how she previewed her channel?
Yes, in the beginning.
I thought that was awesome.
That's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, they had a retro background. And,
exactly.
It was awesome. So once again, you can learn more about our guest, Indie Book Mobile. It's called Bookdamas on her YouTube channel called Bookdamas. And on her Instagram, which is at @book_damas.
And you can also get those channels on our Instagram account as well, just
Right.
so to make it easy for everybody to look them up.
Right.
Right. And you can also find them on a website
She has a website.
as well.
Yeah.
All right. So can you introduce how to get to the website?
I mean, there's a website called Brunch.
Uh-huh.
It's where a lot of writers post their writings and
Right.
stuff. She's got an account there as well.
And that's also Bookdamas as well. All right. Good to know. So we now meet her?
Yes. So let's meet her.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 북다마스라는 이동식 서점을 운영하고 있는 김예진이라고 하고요. 네, 북다마스는 주로 다마스라는 자동차로 이동하면서 이제 독립출판물 위주의 책을 판매하는 책방이에요. 그래서 이제 작년 3월에 시작을 했고 원래 주로 서울 위주로 다니다가 작년에 한번 전국 투어를 진행한 다음에 제주도에 한번 있어보는 건 어떨까 해서 올해부터는 제주 출점을 주로 다니고 있습니다.
How interesting. Can you introduce what she just said to us?
Yeah. So today's guest is Kim Yejin. And
Kim
she's the
Yejin.
owner of the mobile bookshop Bookdamas.
And she sounds very young.
Yes,
She looks very young too.
Bookdamas is a moving bookstore by a car called Damas and sells indie books. She started last year on March. Originally, she stayed around Seoul, but last year she did a national tour.
Wow.
And after that, she thought about coming to Jeju Island. So since this year, she's been moving around the island, running the Bookdamas.
Oh, I hope she stays on Jeju.
Well, this year she's planning on staying.
Yeah,
so.
wow. So she's moving around as she sells the books in her
Right.
Damas car.
So like she's not selling in one place, but
Right.
she's moving around the island, and you can find her white minivan.
And it's great because for her, she's kind of traveling around the island as she does that. So she
Yes.
gets to see Jeju Island in different ways.
Yeah, so if you look at her Instagram, you actually can see a lot of pictures that she posts on the areas that she goes to.
Wow. And so she talked about her mobile bookstore, but can you tell us more about the owner, Kim Yejin herself?
Yeah, just like you mentioned, she sounds young. She was born
Yes.
in 1992, so she in Korean age, she's now 30.
Okay.
She doesn't have any relation to Jeju Island, actually.
Wow.
But except the fact that she lived in Jeju for 8 months as a staff of Jeju Guest House
Oh, really?
after she had graduated from university.
Ah.
But after that, thinking that she had to make an earning, she worked for an IT-related company as a planner for 2.5 years as well.
Uh-huh. So what she did in the past has nothing to do with her selling books right now.
Right.
Interesting. So she had a different job before running the Bookdamas. What made her change her career?
So while working for the company, if it suits her, she was planning on working there for a long time. But working, she realized that it was hard for her to make life of her own.
Uh-huh.
So working from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., it really didn't fit in with how she wanted to live her life.
I see.
But while working for the company, she noticed that there were people who were willing to pay to participate in like book clubs
Uh-huh.
as a hobby.
Oh, really?
So noticing that there are people like that to gather, who like to gather and express oneself, she felt the work she was planning on was what the people needed. So being courageous, she thought, why not do something that's fun? And that's how she came up with the mobile bookstore.
At such a young age to find what you have passion about, I just envy people who are able to do that at a younger age.
Yeah.
Because many of us ending up at a later age, and we still don't understand or know our identity or what we really have passion about.
I know.
So it's kind
That's how I feel.
so both of us are envying her right now.
Yeah.
Kim
I mean,
Yejin.
so when she made up her mind, from there, she really worked hard to save up.
Right.
And then she was finally able to open the Bookdamas.
Well, congratulations to Kim Yejin. But has she always had the dream of opening her own bookstore?
So, not bookstore in particular, but she has made programs where like small number of people, they would gather to talk about what they want to talk about and share each other's ideas. And that's how she came to know about indie books.
Oh, I see.
So learning about indie books and having the chance to talk with some of the authors of the indie book, she wondered what would be a good idea to continue this type of activity.
Oh, I see.
So at the beginning, it wasn't about I'm going to open a bookstore, but more so what's a good way to continue to bring out people's stories, and that's how she came up with mobile bookstore.
So she was human-centered. So mobile bookstore, it's unique. Is she the one and only mobile bookstore in Korea?
So actually, before she opened her own mobile bookstore, she did some research about it.
Oh, okay.
She says there were some cases in Korea, but they were like an event.
Like a one-time thing.
Yeah. And they weren't really a private bookstore.
Right.
So mobile bookstore before were like 1 to 2 months projects that were held under the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism.
Oh, I see.
So they were short period events, but not a continuous mobile bookstore. That's why I guess we can say that currently Kim Yejin's mobile bookstore, Bookdamas,
is the one and only continuous bookstore. Wow.
Yeah.
Existing in Korea.
In Korea.
Wow. Well, the name Bookdamas, from my understanding, is the name from the car model Damas. Am I correct? Right?
Yeah. And let's listen to her,
Okay.
what she says about it.
Okay.
북다마스는 일단 다마스로 움직이는데요. 다마스를 잘 모르실까봐 이제 설명을 해드리면 주로 원래 이렇게 용달, 그러니까 배달에 쓰이는 차량이에요. 그걸로 그래서 이제 되게 작은데 가로 1.5m 정도에 그리고 이거 세로라고 해야 되나요? 이게 한 3.5m인가? 3m인가 정도 될 거예요. 차선 하나에 차가 2개가 들어갈 수 있을 정도로 폭이 되게 작고 차고가 대신에 높아요. 그래서 좀 뭔가 불안정한 구조를 가지고 있지만 어쨌든 좀 귀엽게 생긴 차고 좀 그런 배달이나 이런 데 많이 사용돼서 소상공인의 희망으로 불리기도 하고 뭐 여기저기서 되게 많이 볼 수 있는 우리나라 사람들한테 되게 익숙한 차종이죠. 그 다마스라는 말이 뭔가 뭐 어떻게 정해진지 정확히는 모르겠는데 그냥 들었을 때는 뭔가를 담았다 이런 말로도 들리기도 해서 이제 북다마스라는 이름을 짓게 됐어요. 그냥 책과 다마스의 합성어이기도 하고 이제 그냥 책을 담았다라는 뜻으로 들리기도 하고 해서.
You know what? We just got a question on our message board from Aning saying, why is it called Bookdamas? And we just gave the answer.
Yeah, she just explained it.
So please explain what she just said.
So as you mentioned, Bookdamas is a car model called Damas.
Right.
So for those who may not know about the car Damas, it's a car that was and it's used for delivery service. Yeah. Commonly here in Korea.
It's like those minivan looking.
The car, the minivan is very small. It's 1.5 meters wide and 3.5 meters long. The width is so thin that actually 2 cars can fit in 1 lane, they say.
Really?
Yeah. So the look of it may seem unstable, but she mentions it's kind of cute looking car.
It is cute.
So you've seen the car, right?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really cute. So I think it's really cute. That's and the name, the way that she put the name together, I think that's really, it's simple, but it's also cute. And the way that she said that tamas also kind of means putting something inside.
Yeah.
So putting things inside the books are inside the car is also a nice way to put that name together.
Yeah, so if you're in Korea, you probably have seen this car at least once.
Right.
It's a very familiar model in Korea. And since it is used for delivery services, it has been called the hope of small business owners in the past. So she's not sure how the name actually Damas came about, but like you mentioned, she said it sounds like the Korean word 담았다, which means to fill in.
Right.
And that's how she came up with the name Bookdamas.
Fill in it with books.
Right. So putting the words together, it's like car filled in with books.
It's simple, but it just has the meaning that it needs. So it's great. I think it's really good that she made a simple name for her bookstore. So you mentioned she started Bookdamas last year in March. So when she started was also when COVID-19 was getting serious. So it must have been difficult for her to think of starting a business at that time.
Yeah. So when she was getting started, she initially thought about like going to local festivals, like flea market events, or even college campuses to start off. But did not imagine all that would be canceled due to the COVID-19. So the alternative plan that she came up with was to liaise with cafes
Oh.
or some open spaces where you could where she could open up her bookstore. So in those spaces, she would park her damas and lay out the books that she had stored in the car. Then using her Instagram, she would notify people where she is open today and where she's planning to open like this week.
I was wondering how we could find her. So it's Instagram that will give us that tip.
Yeah, if you look at her Instagram, she has a lot of posts of like the cafes that she's going to, the date and the time when she's going to open and close.
And it's perfect if it's a cafe because you can buy the book and then go to the cafe and read the book.
That's a great plan. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but yeah.
I think she was maybe thinking of that as like her strategy.
Yeah.
If you are in Jeju,
88.7 in Jeju City.
88.1 in Seogwipo City.
101.9 in the Daejeong area.
Arirang Radio.
Welcome back. We're talking about a little bookstore. Actually, it's a car
Mobile
called Damas,
bookstore.
and the name is Bookdamas. So we just talked about how difficult it must have been for her to open up the mobile bookstore during the difficult times of the COVID-19, but also I imagine it is difficult for her to find a place to open every day and even set up with a lot of her books.
Yeah, she says she's been rejected many times as well.
Really?
Actually, yeah. Wherever she goes, she needs a space where she can park and even lay out the books.
Yeah.
So space is really important. And that's one reason why she often gets rejected.
I see.
Also, in order to set up her books, it takes her about an hour to prepare everything. So it's actually a very tiresome job, she says, as well.
I can imagine. So how many books does she carry around with her?
Wow. She says she has 250 different books.
Really?
Yes. That she carries and she lays out every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Like
when
she doesn't
opens.
leave them in the car, but she lays them
She
out?
lays them out.
All of
like
them?
like if you look at her Instagram pictures,
Wow.
she's got some in the front and then she like stands them on the back of the trunk.
Well, I'm imagining that you have to make it easy for people to look at them in order for them
that's
to
why.
want to buy them. But that's a lot of indie books.
Yeah, that is.
Wow.
But if you count the number of books that she has in stock as well, she says she carries about 1,000 books with her.
All together. So the number that she lays out is only a part of all of the books that she carries around.
Yeah. And I didn't even know how 1,000 book can fit in that small minivan Damas, but
and then she has
made
to
it possible.
pack it back into boxes and then put them back in the car. She's going to get muscles.
So as mentioned, as you mentioned, most of the books are indie books.
Yes.
Today, indie books are very popular in Korea, and there are many authors who bring a book to publication without going through a traditional publisher.
Right.
She has a lot of interest in these books and says there are many unique books as well. And she really enjoys sharing these interesting books with others.
Oh, yeah. Well, you must have a love for books yourself in order to do a business that is relating to books, I think. So it just tells you about her as a person.
And she mentioned that as well. I mean, she loves books.
Exactly.
Like, since she was young, she says she read a lot of books.
Oh.
She always enjoyed reading.
I see. Well, books can be really good, especially for children, because it helps them use their imagination.
I know. I should have read more books when I was young.
You can start today. Just look
you know
for
what?
a place
it's
called
never too late.
Bookdamas.
Yeah, it's never too late, so I am going to read more now.
I'm going to see the plans and read a book. All right.
Okay.
There's so much to do. I have to learn Jeju dialect, and I have to learn all about Jeju Island.
And there's a lot of books about it.
That's right. Also, in the beginning, she mentioned that she did a national tour, you said, as well. What was that like for her?
So from Seoul, she started to Gyeonggi-do Anseong, to Chungnam Daejeon, to Jeollado Province, Gwangju, Hwasun, and Changwon, and so on. I mean, there's so many places.
Some places I haven't even been to.
Same here. And then on to Jeju Island.
Yeah.
If you go on her YouTube channel, you can actually see all the places she has visited.
Wow.
And you can see clips of how she got there and how she opened up her bookstore there.
Really?
And actually, if you're traveling Korea, her clips may be a help for you to find good places to visit in Korea as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it gives you a different sense and feel because she's doing something as she's traveling. It's not just, this is a place to go, there is a place to go, but she's actually doing things, and then the background is actually a beautiful place. So that's an interesting way to learn how to travel.
Yeah, and interesting thing was when she drives, she listens to the radio, and when like the frequency goes bad, that's when she knows like she's in a different city now. She mentions. So that was one episode that I enjoyed watching. I was like, wow, that's so true, you know.
That is so true.
If you go to another city, you have a different frequency.
Right. And you can only experience that if you're traveling in between cities,
Right.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. Wow, 1,000 books in her car every day, and she lays out 250, and she does national tours with her bus as well. How about Jeju? What was Jeju like for her?
Let's listen.
Okay.
다른 지역도 물론 좋았지만 되게 다른 점이 어쨌든 갈 수 있는 공간이 많아요. 이게 도시는 어쨌든 빽빽하다 보니까 갈 수 있는 데가 한정적인데 제주는 그냥 뭐 카페도 그렇고 여러 가지 공간들이 이렇게 널찍널찍하게 있다 보니까 네, 일단 갈 수 있는 공간이 많다는 게 되게 큰 장점이고요. 어려운 점은 뭐 다른 건 안 떠오르고 바람? 네. 근데 이제 제주도는 바람으로 유명한 곳이잖아요. 그래서 좀 그 점이 가끔 되게 힘들긴 해요. 그러니까 바람이 또 이렇게 한 방향으로 부는 게 아니라 막 이렇게 불어요. 막 사방에서 불어서 와 그때가 아마 한 초속 한 6, 7 정도 됐을 때였어요. 그렇게 막 심한 편도 아니었는데 카드형 시집이 있어요. 카드형 시집은 이렇게 명함 크기의 어떤 카드 형태의 시가 들어있는 그런 건데 그게 막 이렇게 날아가서 막 그 주우러 나왔던 기억이 있네요. 막 풀숲 사이로 날아가고 막 차 도로로 날아가고 그래서 그거 결국에는 다 못 줍고 네 되게 황망했던 기억이 있습니다.
Tell us what she just said.
Yeah, so of course she enjoyed other areas as well, but one difference in Jeju Island is that there are many places that she could go to actually. Because, you know, in cities, they're very crowded and there's limit to places where she could go.
Right.
But in Jeju, there are cafes with open spaces and many open areas she could go to. And that's the advantage of Jeju. But the disadvantage of Jeju that she talked about was that there's a lot of winds.
Yeah, windy for her.
And she even had moments where books would fly away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like normally she says winds, they don't blow in one direction, but they like blow from all the right directions.
Wings.
And one time the wind was blowing about 6 to 7 meters per second, she says. And her like small card-shaped books of poems, which are like the size of business card, they had like blown away.
Oh no.
And she remembers having to run around to pick them up. And she remembers like having to go into the bushes, into the roads. And she even had books that she had to give up.
Really? Wow. Wow, the wind. I wouldn't have imagined the wind being difficult for her. But operating the mobile bookstore, what were some of the feelings that she felt as she did that?
Knowing that this was possible was a fun feeling for her because in the beginning she had lots of worries. She says, to be honest, she's a person with a lot of worries and had negative thoughts about the idea. Because of the COVID-19 situation, she actually thought it would be impossible to borrow a space from like cafes.
Right.
However, when she requested for space, she was really happy to have discovered that there were cafe owners who thought her idea was great and fun.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So because of that, she had fun and enjoyed meeting many different people as well.
Well, that's so good to hear. What place in Jeju did the mobile bookstore Bookdamas owner Kim Yejin recommend?
Oh, let's listen.
그냥 유명한 장소이긴 한데 뻔하기도거든요. 저는 그냥 숲을 좀 더 좋아하는 편이에요. 바다보다. 그래서 그냥 저는 비자림 되게 좋아하는데요. 그래서 그냥 친구들이 여행 간다고 할 때도 그냥 거기는 이상하게 제가 원래 뭘 추천하는 걸 잘 못해요. 그런 두려움이 큰가 봐요. 이제 실망하면 어떡하지에 대한. 근데 뭔가 비자림은 그런 두려움 없이 추천 많이 하는 공간이에요. 걸어 다니는 거 좋아하시면은 좋은 공간일 것 같아요. 많이 부담스럽지도 않고.
Can you explain what she just shared?
Yeah, so even though it's a well-known place, because she likes the forest more than the sea, she wants to recommend Bijarim. It's a place she really likes and even recommends to her friends.
This is a forest, right?
Right, the Bijarim Forest.
Right.
She says when she recommends a place, she actually worries that people might get disappointed. But Bijarim is like that one place that she has no worries about because like everybody seems to like it.
I kind of get what she's saying. I think it's because she's an influencer, and so when she says something, she has a lot of authority
Pressure.
to what she's saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure whatever she recommends is a great place.
Yeah, and she also mentions that, if you really like to walk, this is especially the place that you want to visit here in Jeju Island.
That's right. It's a beautiful place. A good recommendation, Bijarim Forest. Does she have any last message for our listeners?
Let's listen to what she said.
Okay.
일단 지금 시국이 이래서 많이 오시지는 못하겠지만 이제 좀 나아지고 나서 제주도를 오신다면 이제 왔는데 제 차가 하얀색이거든요. 이제 하얀색 작은 미니밴을 발견하신다면 이제 반가운 마음으로 찾아주시고요. 이제 북다마스라는 거 알아주시고 이제 방문해서 이 방송을 듣고 왔어요라고 얘기해 주시면은 제가 뭐라도 챙겨드릴 테니까 네, 많이 찾아주시면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Tell us what she said.
Yeah, even though many are not able to visit due to the current situation, once things get settled down, and if you have a chance to visit Jeju, and by chance if you see a small white minivan, she says, please come visit her.
Oh, that's nice.
And if you come visit her, knowing that it's Bookdamas, through this show, she says, please tell her that as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that she can prepare you with something as a token of gratitude.
Oh, that'd be nice. Say you're from Arirang Radio. You heard it on Arirang Radio.
That'd be funny if Jamie goes there and be like, I heard you on the show, and just to get a gift. Yeah. I could
won't do
totally
that.
understand. Yeah, because I'm thinking about it as well. No, I'm just kidding.
You're being very honest. Oh, that's so funny. So yeah, that's great to know. Be sure to, if you're in the area, if you're on Jeju Island and you find this bookstore, the Bookdamas, remember her name is Kim Yejin, and be sure to tell her that you heard her on Arirang Radio and see what she will give you. That's good to know. Yeah, I'm so curious to see what kind of books she has. When do you plan to go there?
Well, I guess we have to look up on her Instagram to know where she's going to be at. But I mean, some of the places she goes to were a lot of like cafes that I've been to before.
Oh,
so that was interesting as well.
Oh, that's good to know. So follow her cafes is another idea. Well, thank you again for another great human that you introduced to us
No
today.
problem.
And stay healthy until we see you again next week.
Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that segment. If you're curious to find out more about Jeju, we encourage you to go check out our website at arirangradio.com/Wonders of Jeju. Or you can check out our Facebook page at Wonders of Jeju, as well as our Instagram page at Wonders of Jeju. We're going to take you on a journey to learn more about what's happening here on the island.